Hello, everybody. Another question from Quora. Why do some Hasidic Jews in Israel, especially around Mea She'arim in Jerusalem, wear a beige coat instead of the typical black coat? First thing I want to note is that not all these, they call Yerushalmi, Jerusalemite, ultra-Orthodox Jews who wear these kaftans are Hasidic. Probably today most are, but initially it was not specifically a Hasidic practice, but rather from people, from the followers of the Vilna Gaon, the original opponents of the Hasidim, who settled in Jerusalem and still maintained classical dress and the classical garb, including the shtreimel. What happened was that Jews in Jerusalem were accused of being spies for Russia because at the time the Holy Land was under the control of the Ottoman Empire, and there was a war between the Ottomans and the Russians. And so in order to alleviate that claim, the Ashkenazic Jews coming from Eastern Europe and Russian lands, who settled in Jerusalem, began to wear the clothes more similar to the Sephardic Jews, to the Middle Eastern Jews. And so for that reason, that became the Jerusalemite style, to wear a kaftan without buttons. On the weekdays, it was more gray and blue stripes, vertical stripes, with more of a robe, and also both on the Sabbath and the weekdays, a white knitted yarmulke with a pom-pom on the top, and which was worn in some places in Europe as well, especially by certain rabbis. Rabbi Nachman Breslover, it seems, wore such a yarmulke. And then on the Sabbath, to wear a gold and blue striped kaftan. And so that's where the tradition came from, in order to make the Ashkenazic Jews appear more like the Sephardic Jews, in order to alleviate any false claims that they might be spies for the Russian Empire. It should be noted that the original tradition of the Hasidic Jews was to wear white garments on the Sabbath. And the reason they changed to black was in order to really placate the opponents of the Hasidim, who felt that it was arrogant for them to wear, meaning all the Hasidim wore white bekishes. Eventually what happened was, in certain circles, particularly in Hungarian circles, the rabbi, the grand rabbi or chief rabbi, whatever it is of the town, would wear the white garments, but the other people only would maybe on special occasions. Although it seems that at a certain point earlier in history, there was also a custom, pre-Hasidic custom, to wear white garments on the Sabbath. So that should also be noted, although the style is somewhat different. This particular style that you see in Jerusalem is the classical Yerushalmi style. The hats would be, that would go with it during the weekday, would be very similar to the hats the Satmar Hasidim wear. Somewhat different, although now it's pretty much the same. And then the shtreimels also would be worn both by Hasidic and non-Hasidic. And there's another garment that is worn more commonly now by the Yerushalmi, to be a single-breasted kaftan with buttons and with buttons on the belt, as opposed to the typical double-breasted brekel, and that would be for weekdays, and in some communities also on the Sabbath. Because one thing that's interesting in those communities, many of them, is that the unmarried boys from their bar mitzvah already wear shtreimel on Shabbos in many of those communities, and in some of those communities, the shtreimel would go with something more like a weekday-looking rekel, and in others with until the Sar Mitzchok, where it's also more common to see the the stripes during the week, and many people have abandoned that style. But also the blue and gray stripes during the week, and then the gold and blue stripes, gold, blue, and white stripes on the Sabbath. So in Toldosaran and Toldosav Yitzchak, the unmarried boys will wear almost the same thing that the married men wear, with the exception, of course, they don't wear a talis by davening Shabbos morning, but also, or Friday night, they also wear talis in Yerushalmi. But the major difference would be that the unmarried boys wear black socks and the married men wear white socks. That's what you see in the Reb Arlach communities, Toldosaran, Toldosav Yitzchak, Shemer Munim. Should be noted that this custom of wearing the Yerushalmi kaftan applies in what are called the four holy cities of the Holy Land: Jerusalem, Hebron, Tiberias, and Tzfas. So those are the four holy cities. So generally, you very rarely see, except some rebbes, let's say in Bnei Brak, you certainly would not generally see someone from the community at large, unless they're visiting and they don't have any other bekasha or something. But usually many of those people, they'll have a different bekasha for visiting other communities, like a regular black bekasha, and this would only wear in the four holy cities, whereas some people, mostly, particularly rabbis, would maintain Yerushalmi garb everywhere. And so some examples, the Bostoner Rebbe in Jerusalem wears, I don't know the current Bostoner Rebbe, the old Bostoner Rebbe certainly did, and probably this one too, wears the Yerushalmi garb. And so there's a funny story that Bostoner Rebbe and Rebbetzin Zechron Livracha, they were walking in Yerushalayim on Shabbos, and there was a tour going by, and the tour guide said in English, "Here you'll see to our left a typical Jerusalemite couple with the traditional garb." And the Bostoner Rebbe said to Rebbetzin, "Should we disappoint them and tell them we're probably their neighbors in America?" So that's and the fact that the Satmarov, even though the current Satmarovs don't do this, the Satmarov, Schusi Galeno, also he wore Yerushalmi kaftan because he was the Yerushalayim Rav. Also, he would sometimes wear Yerushalmi kaftan Shabbos in Yerushalayim. But interestingly, so you have the two brothers, Toldosaran Rebbe and Toldosav Yitzchak Rebbe. Toldosaran Rebbe always wears the Yerushalmi begodim wherever he travels, and Toldosav Yitzchak Rebbe has different bekashas for outside of those four holy cities, outside of Jerusalem, the other three holy cities. So, when they come to Brooklyn, whatever fundraising, you'll see the difference in their garb. So, all kinds of interesting things. There's also a white Yerushalmi kaftan as well that some Rebbes particularly wear on the high holidays, but also the Lelava Rebbes, and many of the Lelava Rebbes also wear the Yerushalmi levush outside of Jerusalem, and that's another practice. All right, thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you later. How do I turn this thing off? I want this one. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. There we go.